Hello YouTube viewers and random Doctor Who fans. Let's get ready to ramble. Oh dearie dearie me.
On the morning of December 18th, 2022, a 32-year-old woman named Natalie McNally left the house of her boyfriend in Lisburn, Northern Ireland, got in her car, and drove to Craigavon to watch the FIFA World Cup final, Argentina versus France, with her family. She had spent the greater part of the night at his place, and when she left that morning, he waved her off from the doorstep, a moment that was caught on a CCTV camera nearby. What Natalie didn't know, and what the camera didn't capture, was that while he was standing in that doorway saying goodbye to her, he had already been on his phone researching bus timetables from Lisburn to Lurgan. By the time Natalie got home from watching the match with her family that evening, Stephen McCullough was already on his way to kill her. And while he was doing it somehow, in a move that would baffle internet sleuths, innocent viewers, and police investigators alike, a 6-hour gaming stream was broadcasting live on his YouTube channel, showing him at home, interacting with his audience, and playing Grand Theft Auto from his own desk. But in what seemed like an, at the time, edgy recurring joke throughout his stream, he had left hints and clues as to what he was actually out doing that night. Lurgan is a town of about 25,000 people in County Armagh in Northern Ireland, about 25 miles southwest of Belfast. Natalie McNally had grown up there and had never really left, which wasn't an accidental life decision. She loved the place, loved the community, and loved being close to her family. She had 2 degrees, owned her own home, had a successful career, and had been managing type 1 diabetes since she was 3 years old, which her family said had given her a resilience and a matter-of-factness that made her, in her brother Brendan's words, a remarkable woman. Her mother, Bernie, would later describe her not just as her daughter, but as her best friend. In August 2022, Natalie matched with Stephen McCullough on Bumble. The two of them were an unlikely pair. Natalie was a confident, community-oriented woman with a full and active life, and McCullough was a 32-year-old gaming YouTuber from Lisburn who had spent over a decade making niche videos reviewing Doctor Who merchandise and toy collectibles under the handle VoteSaxon07. His channel was a genuine labor of love, however, built around the kind of deep franchise knowledge that earns a small but loyal audience. Every video opened with the same greeting.
Hello YouTube viewers and random Doctor Who fans. Hello YouTube viewers and random Star Wars fans, and may the 4th be with you. So here we go again. Hello YouTube viewers and random robot fighting fans. Hello YouTube viewers and random subscribers. I recently put up a post on my Patreon page asking, what do you
He had lost both of his parents in the space of a year in the 2010s. His mother Heather in 2014, his father John in 2015, and had posted tribute videos for both of them on his channel, which his subscribers received with genuine warmth. He was not, by any public measure, someone anyone would have looked at and seen danger. But an ex-girlfriend would later testify at his murder trial that he had been physically abusive to her on multiple occasions across a 7-year on-and-off relationship, and that after she gave birth to a stillborn baby in early 2022, she had received private grief counseling sessions at McCullough's home. The PSNI later informed her that he had, for whatever reason, secretly recorded some of those sessions without her knowledge. So while he may have seemed like a normal person with niche interests on the outside, he had his own sordid past. After their Bumble match in August 2022, Natalie and Stephen went on a few dates, and the relationship began to develop. Within about 2 months, by October 2022, Natalie was pregnant with his child. The messages between them began to reflect a real shift in tone. It started with initial shock. That gave way to something that looked, in the text at least, like genuine excitement. They called the baby Baby Squish. They talked about moving in together. They made plans to spend Christmas 2022 with Natalie's family. A defense barrister would later describe the messages as happy couple chat. And he wasn't entirely wrong. There was warmth in them, which made what came next all the more shocking. By late 2022, Natalie's commitment to the relationship had begun to waver. She had been in contact with other men, with some of the exchanges turning sexually explicit, and in some of those conversations she'd made clear she wasn't certain she wanted to continue with McCullough. Whether McCullough had found out about any of this before December 18th isn't actually known, but it is likely considering what he had been doing in the background for well over a week by then. On the morning of December 18th, 2022, a Sunday, McCullough used his phone to research bus schedules from Lisburn to Lurgan. This was happening while Natalie was still at his house, before she left to go watch the World Cup final with her family in Lurgan, where she lived. Then he waved her off at the door, went back inside, and set to work setting up an alibi 4 days in the making. He had pre-recorded a gaming session 4 days earlier and scheduled it to broadcast live on his YouTube channel, showing him playing Grand Theft Auto, specifically a Grand Theft Auto mission centered on the killing of a woman. He scheduled the stream to go out that evening, timed to cover the window when he planned to be in Lurgan.
What more could you want for Christmas other than an evening with your old pal Stephen? I genuinely do not know how long this stream is going to last for, and I've decided I'm going to play around with it and do something a little bit different. I wanted to do a live stream, and I've been wanting to do one for quite some time now. Only trouble is, there's a couple of elements, shall we say, that have been preventing me from doing anything.
He called the stream Violent Night Christmas Live Gaming Stream. It was on the surface a pretty normal stream for his channel. He wore a Santa hat, welcomed viewers warmly, poured himself a Guinness, and, as if he couldn't be more suspicious, joked about not leaving the house that night.
Anyway, pour myself a nice little Guinness, and let that bad boy set, because I'll tell you something, son, I'm spitting feathers. I'm spitting feathers. I just realised I'm literally going to be drinking and driving. In the game, by the way, I'm not leaving the house tonight, so, yeah, in the game I will be drunk while driving in the game.
He told viewers he couldn't respond to the live chat due to technical difficulties and asked them to chat amongst themselves, which again, considering the context, wasn't actually a red flag in any way.
Well, because this streaming software is kind of up the left, it means I can't check the live chat, which is a real shame. So, by all means, talk amongst yourselves. I could use my phone to dip in every now and again and check it, but I've decided that I kind of hate live streams where people just sit and read comments and go, "Oh my god, yes, ask me questions, better." But yes, if you have questions, comments, opinions, anything like that, tough. What I want this to be.
The stream ran normally across the night, although with no audience interaction. He said he hadn't had a drink in months and then knocked back a large portion of the Guinness, saying he could drink that stuff like it's water.
I think it was a really, really bad idea for me to down that entire pint of Guinness as quickly as I did. Well, I didn't down the entire thing. I downed yay much of it in one go. I think that's a really bad idea after not drinking for so long. So I'm kind of fucked. But yeah, other than that, still talking away. How was your week? How did things go? I know I can't see the live chat.
He talked about looking forward to Christmas and spending time with loved ones. Things started getting weird as he got into his GTA Vice City mission. At one point during the stream, a James Bond film called No Time to Die flashed on the screen in the background, which happened almost exactly around the time McCullough had gotten to his fiance's home in real life. At another point, referring to a mission in the game, he said he needed to, quote, kill this bitch and, quote, take her down.
I need to kill this bitch. I need to take her down. 'Cause I won't pass the mission if I don't get this bitch to die.
What made this alibi genuinely dangerous from an investigative standpoint was that the PSNI's cybercrime unit later said proving the difference between a live stream and a pre-recorded video broadcast as live is technically quite difficult. McCullough had used OBS Studio, the same broadcasting software that a lot of YouTubers routinely use to screen record, and had set it up correctly enough that the stream looked indistinguishable from a real one to anyone watching it. What cracked it was what the software left behind on his computer. During genuine live transmissions, OBS generates continuous background activity data, even during pauses in the content. McCullough's file showed none of that background activity during the pauses in his recording, because there was no live transmission happening, so there was nothing to generate it. Digital forensics also showed zero user interaction with the computer at any point between 6 p.m. on December 18th and 12:05 a.m. on December 19th. During that time, he was already on a bus heading to Lurgan.
Like, I was reading somewhere recently, like, the amount of police force that we have lost over the last 12 years is just fucking frightening, and no wonder crime is on the rise. That's why I like sticking to just doing crimes in a video game. Keeps things simple, mate.
After Natalie left him that morning and spent the afternoon and evening watching the World Cup final with her family in Craigavon, she drove home to her house at Silverwood Green in Lurgan sometime after 5 in the evening. McCullough, meanwhile, had dressed in dark clothing and gloves, obscured his face, and taken a bus from Dunmurry, a suburb of Lisburn, to Lurgan, a journey of about 20 miles. He carried a green shopping bag to blend in with the public. He covered the final 1.5 miles from the bus stop to Silverwood Green on foot so as to not be tracked. But CCTV cameras actively watched a significant portion of that journey, capturing a man matching his disguised appearance entering the Silverwood Green area at 8:52 in the evening. He had also, investigators later discovered, brought with him a beanie hat with a black curly wig tucked underneath it, which was a hat he'd worn on Instagram several times. He got to McNally's home at around 9 and attacked her through the doorway. Natalie McNally was beaten, strangled, and stabbed inside her home between 8:52 and 9:30 that evening. She sustained at least 5 heavy blows to the head, multiple stab wounds including 3 to the neck, and had been strangled. She was 15 weeks pregnant when she died. The baby, a boy she had already decided to name Dean, died with her. After the attack, McCullough sent fake messages of concern to Natalie's phone asking where she was, suggesting she might be upset with him for drinking while she was pregnant or that her diabetes might be causing her health issues. As he sent the texts, he made his way back to the Lurgan Town Center. Having spent longer inside the house than planned, he'd missed the last bus home. He now had to improvise a murder he'd planned meticulously for weeks, which would also come to backfire, as would basically every precautionary step he'd taken. He walked back into Lurgan Town Center and spotted a taxi parked outside a pub. He got in and directed the driver, a man named Jeff McAvoy, who would later testify at the trial, toward Lisburn. He didn't have enough cash to cover the full fare and had to transfer money to McAvoy's account along the way, which was a digital footprint proving his movements that day.
Attack, panic, attack. That's what we're doing.
By the time he got back to Lisburn, the GTA stream was still running on his YouTube channel. The following evening, December 19th, McCullough traveled back to Lurgan, this time under the pretense of checking on Natalie after a day of not hearing from her. He walked into her home and called 999. He was heard weeping, telling the operator, "She's gone," and describing the scene over 10 minutes on the phone.
Listen to me. What's the number you're calling from in case we get cut off?
Silverwood Grade. The number's going through because she's pregnant.
Listen, are you saying she's pregnant?
Yes.
And she's not breathing? Did you say she's cold?
She's cold.
Okay. Listen to me. I'm going to help you, okay? You stay on the line with me, all right? Okay, stay on the line with me. Okay, listen, if there is a defibrillator available, and send someone else to get it now in case we need it later. Tell me whenever you have it, okay? Is there anybody else with you? You can go and get a defib.
No, there's blood everywhere.
Right, listen to me. I'm organising help for you now. Stay on the line. I'm going to tell you exactly what to do next.
Paramedic Graham Thompson arrived and observed that Natalie's hands and lips had turned blue. McCullough told first responders he had attempted CPR. Then he called his best friend from the scene, apparently distraught. Police arrived, took his details, and he was arrested as a suspect that same night. He was released shortly afterward because of his well-planned live-stream alibi. McCullough went to Natalie's wake on Christmas Day 2022. The family, who had been told he'd found her body and was shattered by it, believed he had nothing to do with her murder, because why would they think otherwise? He'd been live on YouTube when it happened, and they welcomed him into their home and gave him time alone with Natalie's remains. He spent 15 minutes alone with her in that room. He told Natalie's mother in detail how he had found the body in such a descriptive way that Bernadette McNally later said it haunted her every day from that point forward. He told the family and told the police that he believed Natalie's ex-boyfriend had killed her, providing enough detail and consistency to the story that the ex-boyfriend was arrested and held as a suspect before eventually being released. And then while sitting in the McNally family home in late January 2023, attending their gatherings as a grieving boyfriend and father-to-be, McCullough used his phone to secretly record 40 minutes of the family's conversations. He was apparently trying to find out how much progress the police were making with the investigation. He also compiled a video montage for a public rally in Natalie's memory, presenting it as a tribute from her loving partner, which was played to a crowd of roughly 1,000 people who had turned out in Lurgan Park. He attended that rally himself and stood among the mourners. And barely a month later, his lie came crashing down.
Well, you know what they say about expectation versus reality? Yeah, that.
McCullough had worked part-time as an assistant audience editor at the Belfast Telegraph before his arrest, a role that actually complicated the police investigation because his computer was used for journalistic work. It carried legal protections for journalistic material, and detectives had to spend an evening with a barrister and solicitor drafting a specialist warrant before they could seize it. They went to court the following morning, got the judge's permission, and went out and took the computer that afternoon. It was on that computer that the cybercrime unit found everything they needed. On January 31st, 2023, detectives from the Police Service of Northern Ireland announced they had rearrested a man in connection with Natalie's murder. The PSNI's cybercrime unit had spent the intervening weeks forensically examining McCullough's computers, and what they found was definitive. The YouTube livestream had not been a livestream at all. It was a pre-recorded video scheduled to broadcast during the window McCullough spent traveling to Lurgan, killing Natalie, and traveling back. There had been no live element to it whatsoever. McCullough's alibi, the one that had got him released the first time, was a fabrication. On February 2nd, 2023, he was charged with murder at Lisburn Magistrates Court.
Stephen, you're under arrest for murder. You do not have to say anything, but I must caution you that if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court, it may harm your defence. If you do say anything, it may be given in evidence.
He had by that point also wiped his phone via factory reset in the days after Natalie's body was found. When asked about this in a later police interview, he explained that officers had arrived at his door and he had a bag of cannabis in a cupboard and wanted to wipe any drug-related messages before they found it. When police showed him CCTV footage of a man matching his description traveling by bus from Dunmurry to Lurgan, he offered a new theory, that the real killer had deliberately constructed a trail of circumstantial evidence to frame him. He subsequently didn't testify at his own trial. The trial began in February 2026 before Justice Kinney at Belfast Crown Court with a jury. Prosecutors laid out the full sequence, including the disguise, the documented bus and taxi trips back and forth, the livestream inconsistencies that covered the exact window of the homicide, and the CCTV footage capturing his every move. McCullough's old college friend Anne McCullough testified that in the immediate aftermath of Natalie's death, he had been inconsolable and that she had believed him completely. The ex-girlfriend testified about the physical abuse and the recorded counseling sessions. The defense, for their part, argued the CCTV footage was not conclusive enough to definitively identify McCullough as the man in the footage and maintained his innocence throughout. On March 23, 2026, Judge Kinney delivered his verdict, guilty of murder. He found the circumstantial evidence taken in its totality to be too overwhelming for it to be a frame job. On June 3, 2026, McCullough was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 31 years, which was one of the longest minimum sentences ever imposed in Northern Ireland's legal history. Judge Kinney noted that McCullough had shown high culpability by constructing a fake alibi, that he had known Natalie was pregnant at the time, and that his brutal and frenzied attack would therefore also result in the death of her unborn child. McCullough's YouTube channel, Vote Saxon 07, which he'd been building since April 2010, had accumulated roughly 40,000 subscribers by the time of his arrest. YouTube removed him from the partner program after his arrest in February 2023, which meant he stopped earning advertising revenue from the channel. But the videos themselves, including the Violent Night Christmas live gaming stream, stayed publicly available and viewable on the platform throughout the entire duration of his trial. By the time the verdict came in on March 23, 2026, that stream alone had been watched by more than 750,000 people. Within hours of the guilty verdict, YouTube terminated both of his channels entirely under what the company described as its creator responsibility policies.